Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
And welcome to the feed. Here we are, Mike and Marty.
It's the Mike and Marty show.
It's the Mike and Marty show. November 13th, 2019.
It should be Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
the way
maybe
that's
it, the way things are going. So, 24 hours ago.
We were double booked.
We had so many guests, we didn't have room in the studio. And because Mike had screwed up and forgotten that I had already booked someone, and then Marty booked someone, because I had asked her to, and actually we could have had three because we put someone else off because I was like, oh, we're not ready yet. We'll go with this person.
Right.
And then we get here this morning, no guests. So this is the fun of live television.
It is the fun of live TV. We will give a shout out to JR and hope he feels better though.
Yes, I hope our guest feels better. He's under the weather, and I apologize to our other guests for putting them off because we already had a guest, and
it's the deal with live TV.
It's the deal with live TV.
Live TV.
And so here we are. We're going to talk a lot about local events and things that are happening, because believe it or not, even though we don't have a guest, I think we can easily, with the stuff that's happening, we can easily fill up the show. Not that you should tune out. In this first 3 minutes, we need you to watch 4.5 minutes. Preview. We're going to have some feet. We're going to have man-made tragedies. We're going to be talking about a new CD that just came out yesterday.
Shop local.
You name, and the mystery. We're going to ask people to guess what this is and phone into the show.
I think it's a spotlight.
You think so?
I think so.
Doesn't look like a spot. I thought it was a coffee maker. I was hoping it was a coffee maker
right now.
But it wasn't.
If anyone's out there and they are in the vicinity, if you could deliver coffee, that'd be awesome.
That would be incredible.
It would be amazing. Right. It's one of those mornings.
Local events.
So let's just remind everybody, we had Annette Spaulding here last week who gave a wonderful talk.
She was amazing.
And she's a wealth of knowledge. She's found an amazing amount of things in our little Connecticut River. It's not like, it's not local that she's finding these things. And so her big event is Thursday night. It's at the Opera House. It's general admission, $10 to attend. Tickets are available at the door, or you can get them in advance at the Village Blooms in Walpole or the Village Square Booksellers. It starts at 5 p.m. There's a cash bar. There'll be light refreshments, a silent auction. There's quite a nice amount of silent auction items, 50-50 raffle.
Yeah.
And Gordon Crandall, the retired archaeologist, is going to have, she said, I think at least 2 tables full of Native American Abenaki artifacts, which is pretty cool.
Supposedly the largest collection in the world, I guess. Yeah.
And then promptly at 6:30, and she did emphasize promptly, Gail Golick will start a presentation and lay the groundwork for some of the exciting, for Annette to bring out and preview some of the exciting things that she's found in the Connecticut River.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of video, I understand.
A lot of video, and all of it benefits the Adams Gristmill. The gristmill is in desperate need of having their roof replaced.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the money goes as a benefit to the Adams Gristmill Historical Society. So it's a worthy cause. It's going to be a great event, and it's really good for people to just get out and support these things.
Great. Do we want to talk a little bit about
the Redemption Project? So we were going to have folks from the Justice Center here today, J.R. Lane, and then other folks from the Justice Center to talk about a movie that is going to be screened next Wednesday night at the Rockingham Free Public Library. It's a CNN original series, and it's called The Redemption Project. Awesome. Yay, one part of our stuff worked, something worked.
Yes.
So what this basically, the gist of this movie is talking about prison reform, the idea that the system we have right now really isn't working. We're incarcerating people for the sake of incarceration, but we're not necessarily reforming them. And there'll be a gentleman that will be leading a discussion after. There's a gentleman that's been traveling, Louis L. Reed has been traveling over 10 states on a year-long empathy tour, and he's going to lead a conversation around criminal justice reforms in Vermont. So it'll be both a screening of the movie and then, kind of a roundtable discussion to get people's thoughts. So it's a free event. It's supported by Springfield Turning Point Recovery Center and Greater Falls Connections, and I think it'll be an eye-opening. I'm going to guess the movie is probably an eye-opening movie for most people.
And it's really one of the human tragedies of our time is that the United States actually has the highest per capita portion of their population in prison, more than like when you think about it's going to be like China or Iraq or someplace like that, or Iran or some backward. No, it's us.
And I don't think, it was interesting, we were kind of talking a little bit about it in my class this morning, and someone made the comment, well, some people just think everyone should just be incarcerated. And it's like, well, there definitely probably are some people that should be and probably can't be reformed. But I think what they're talking about is there's quite a few people that get incarcerated, and you can catch them. You can probably, there's probably a brief window of time you can catch them.
Well, I think there's more than just a few.
Them before they just get in the cycle of
because it's almost like learning. It's like if you can go to college or you can go to prison, and you can either learn to do something or you can learn to be a criminal.
So I think it's going to be an interesting movie. It's a CNN production, so it's going to be
should be really good.
Well done. Not probably as well done as Fact TV.
Well, we set the bar pretty high.
but and and again it's a free event, so I would like to see a lot of people out just to show support. And if you're no matter what side of the fence you're on, show up.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
don't have to be for it or against it. Just show up.
It's something that we're going to have to deal with, no matter whether you're for or against it. You better educate yourself.
So you went to some speaking of politically charged events.
Politically charged events. I went to see Mayor Pete Buttigieg.
I know. Everyone even going to try to pronounce that last name.
To mispronounce his name because it doesn't look at anything like Buttigieg. But not all of his workers, but a large number of his workers were wearing T-shirts that said "Boot Edge Edge."
Oh, so this
so they were trying to get people. And he was in Walpole on Sunday, and Sue and I went to see him, and I was really impressed. I haven't been watching this that close. I actually have been trying to pull back from it because I'm sort of a political junkie, and once I get involved, I'll be like all over it. But so I've been trying to, since it is a year. We still have to go through another year before we get to the election, but he was. I was totally impressed. He's my man right now. I don't have. I was a Bernie.
What's his platform?
Well, he's more moderate. He's like he has like prison reform. He was like he talked about that. He said we have the highest level of prisoners in the world, and we need to do something about that. We need to figure it out. We need to, where people are making money off private prisons and doing all this stuff, and we need to maybe work toward the redemption project sort of ideas. But he wasn't he's not way over on the left. He's probably, if Bernie is here and Elizabeth Warren is here, he's probably somewhere here. He talked about health care. He said, we need universal health care, but he said instead of just having Medicare for all, he said we should have Medicare for everyone who wants it. So that if you have a great, if you're an auto worker and you have a great healthcare system, healthcare policy, you might not want to go to Medicare. So you should be able to keep it, what you have.
Right, so it's not mandated either or.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're a person who has no healthcare, or works at a place that doesn't provide benefits, you should be able to say, well, I'll take the Medicare, and it should be paid for. And that's an interest. It's a sort of a middle of the road solution, which I guess that's a lot of the stuff he talks about. Because he was just an interesting guy.
So what? I know that New Hampshire is the first primary, but how did someone get him to Walpole?
That's a good question.
I was just curious if
I was like,
that.
Walpole. And, we walked in and
because it was
but they
packed, wasn't it? Was it packed?
It was packed. It was, but it was, it was the middle school gymnasium, so it's, it's really not a big venue, but there were probably, I want to say 300 or 400 people.
Is that like part of his campaign is to hit smaller places?
Well, that seems that way, because what he was doing, he did a bus tour. He went to Claremont. He went to over the weekend, basically the days of the weekend. He hit a bunch of small towns and small venues in New Hampshire, and which is probably good. But the people were lined up around the school to see him. Nice. I had, just as a humorous aside. We're there, and everybody was leaving, and it's like, well, I don't want to go out and sit in the traffic. So I was just sort of hanging out, and people were left, and this Fox News guy came up and interviewed me.
Oh, awesome.
It was funny because he was like, well, are you from here or did you drive? And I said, well, we drove. And he goes,
I'm sure it seems very foreign to Fox News. Like, how did people get here?
Yes.
Was it horse and buggy? Did they swim across the river?
And then he goes, where did you come from? And I said, Vermont.
The river.
Well, no, and he's like, Vermont. You came all the way from Vermont. How long was that drive? And I said,
Hours.
15 minutes. He was like, oh, okay.
That's like my favorite thing. That has to be my favorite thing.
So been trying to find this interview, but
you couldn't find it?
I haven't been able to find, because I'm not sure who does Fox News in New Hampshire that wouldn't know that Vermont is like right there.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking it must have been
affiliate
Manchester
okay.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. Well, if he was from Manchester, they probably wouldn't know Vermont was right
Yeah.
there. Isn't
Or
that the joke
whether they're from Connecticut or something,
Yeah.
where they were just a stringer that's out, trying to cover people. But it was.
That's funny.
I had a great time. This is for Colin, because Colin is really pushing for Pete. He's a Pete pusher.
I think you're being facetious on that. And you also went to another local event.
And I also did. This is and this was Man-Made Tragedies. I can never remember what camera's camera, but
Center camera, I believe.
Center camera. Okay,
Yeah.
no, I can't. This camera. There it
Now
is.
you're just making Alex mad.
I'm making Alex, and he's smiling, which he just had surgery and he can't smile, so he hates me. All right, but Man-Made Tragedies. This is a local band. They played at the Moose on Friday night, and they're 14 and 15-year-olds. And they were really, at first I was like, okay, 14 and 15-year-olds, they were really pretty good. I mean, and I can't say that they played music that I would listen to in the car. Mm-hmm. But they actually did play. They played they did some covers of the White Stripes, and they did some other sort of rock classics that were really good. But they're also writing their own stuff.
Nice.
And I knew some of these kids when they were like really tiny, so it was really interesting to see.
Well, it's interesting, actually. I think, again, I don't always want to use the term back in the day, but back in the day, and I think Floyd could probably, speak to this, that there were a lot of youth that were into music and into bands, and that's how a lot of the local band scene got started. Like these kids got started when they were in high school. They were in band, they had bands, and you just don't see that. Like, this is kind of an unusual.
Well, and it is,
that's why I
in
think
a way,
it's cool
because
that
it's
these
really,
kids they're focused on their music. They have their own Facebook page.
Yeah, they have their own Facebook page, their own Instagram page. They're going. One of the things that's going to happen is from this Moose thing, they're going to try to put out some videos, which is another thing that I really like, is that they're going to the band members are going to come in and into Fact TV and use the facilities that they can use and edit their music and edit the tapes of their music into music videos.
Well, I think the kids have been. I don't know all the kids in the band, but I think they've been involved in Fact TV anyway.
Some of them have. Yeah.
And I don't know if
I can't remember Don Tretler's son's
I can't.
first name.
I can't. Jake.
Jake.
Yes, Jake Tretler.
He's going to be a
involved with
good
Fact
guitar
TV.
player. I mean, he is. If he keeps up what he's been doing, he is. He was good. He was fun to listen to, and he did some good guitar solos, and he was great.
It's nice
So
that the Moose had them.
the Moose had them. Man-Made Tragedies, and they were worth the watch. You should.
So staying with the music theme, since we're on the music theme right now, we'll jump to.
We'll jump to, this is something
we'll preview
that.
our guests next week.
This is good, they're gonna be our guests next week.
And now that we've said it on air, they have to actually come.
Absolutely.
Because the public does
This
not
isn't like,
want another week.
Next
of
week
Mike and
cannot
Marty.
be just, yes. But, this is, Eugene Friesen and, Elizabeth, Rogers released a CD, that they're calling, it's called Down in Yon Forest, and it's a CD of Christmas and holiday and winter music. I've only listened, I got it yesterday afternoon, and I've only managed to listen to like half of it. It's amazing. It's just, if it certainly isn't Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. It is very nice music, and her voice is just incredible. That when we're talking about like treasures here, underwater treasures, and then all the things that happen, we've been sort of talking about that as one of our themes. These guys are a treasure.
They truly are, with what they bring to the music,
yeah.
the local, what they've brought to Bellows Falls for music, to make available all the Stone Church productions,
Yeah.
Their own productions, and again, a kind of like a hidden gem that the average person might not realize. There's all this stuff going on.
Yes, it's amazing, and the music they do, like for this CD, they did traditional music, but it's like I had never heard. I've been through half of it, and I think there's one song that I had heard before, but they're like traditional Irish songs and traditional English songs, and just it's pretty good. And between the two of them. Eugene's cello playing, which is just so mellow, and like he said, it gets you right here. And her voice is just something. So I'm not sure how they're going to distribute this or how people can get a copy, but I would highly recommend that people.
Well, my
getting
guess
a
would
copy.
I think what they're coming to talk about next week is they have an upcoming performance at Main Street
Oh,
Arts.
that's right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm guessing that they would have those CDs available at Main Street Arts, and we won't preview
Yeah, we
too
don't
much
get
more
too much.
about next
But
week's
hopefully
show,
next week we'll have them on, and we'll have some of the music, and we can maybe have some video too.
and that's coming up. I think it's November 30th.
November 30th
It's
at
the
Main
end.
Street Arts.
It's after Thanksgiving. So,
Yeah, so keep tuned for that.
speaking of Thanksgiving is late this year.
Yes.
So we're gonna have one less week for shopping. So shop local, as we know, because we had Mary Helen here a few weeks ago, and shop local has kicked off in downtown Bellows Falls and with all the participating merchants. So a lot of the merchants, if you see these little green cards, like a lot of them have them by the cash register, these are your shop local cards. It's $100 a card. So every time that you purchase something, if a $5 something, $10, multiples of those, get your card stamped, and then bring your card into the main drawing place, which would be, you can bring them into Village Square booksellers, because after the holidays, they're gonna go through these cards, and all of the merchants on the back, and there's quite a substantial amount, have donated a prize.
Yeah, and they're good prizes.
They are
not
good
like,
prizes, yeah. So I would say there's probably at least 60 participating merchants that have donated prizes, so you could win a prize. If you're gonna shop anyway, you might as well get your card stamped.
Exactly. And like, I know, like, if you go to Leaside.
Yep, they have them right there at the.
They're right there
yep.
at the counter. You can go through and just, every time you buy milk and bread because the snowstorm's coming.
Right, we haven't gotten to that yet.
You'll have to, get your thing.
Snowmageddon
I mean,
stuff.
you could fill, just on the snowstorms, you could
bread.
fill your card.
And then there will be some, the holiday weekend, the Thanksgiving weekend, there'll be a lot of events happening in downtown Bellows Falls. There'll be Plaid Friday, there'll be Small Business Saturday, and a Sunday open house and Cider Monday. So they
Yeah.
have a lot of fun events that usually are in conjunction with some type of promotion
Right,
or some
yeah.
type
Well,
of,
I
if
know
you wear plaid,
Rockingham
you get
does their, they do the they don't call it bachelor's night, but they call it men's night.
Men's
and
night, and then
they
there's
call it
ladies'
ladies'
night,
night,
yep.
and
Yep.
those are always good. Because
Those are good events because it gets people out and about. The merchants usually have some type of promotion going on. Oftentimes they might have cider, or they might have other types of adult beverages available. And I know that Halliday sometimes has like a person in doing wine tasting, things like that. So there's lots and lots of local events that we'll highlight more when we get the, when, I don't know if they have the exact list of everything yet. Oh yeah, they do. Ladies' Night is just Friday, December 13th, and Not Just Men's Night is Friday, December 20th. So we do have the 2 dates.
And it's cool how they do the ladies' night before the men's night, because these people have been thinking about this. This isn't like the first Christmas they've ever been to.
It isn't their first Christmas. And then we have a couple events happening at the bookstore. On Friday, November 15th, John Mayer Love Poems from Vermont will be happening. It's Love Poems from Vermont, Reflections on Inner and Outer State Poems and Photos. So that's happening on Friday, November 15th at 6 p.m. It's part of BF3F. Pat always has something happening. She always has an author in. And if you haven't been to an author event, and you like to read, or it's really fun, because you get a different perspective on the book writing process. Like you think, oh, this just happens, right? And they'll tell you, no, it doesn't just happen. And then on Saturday the 16th, she has another local author. She has Elizabeth, this is good.
There you go, Bunker
Zucker. Bunker Zucker.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Breathtaking is the name of her book, Growing Up Mystic in America. So those are 2 events happening at the bookstore. And then happening on Sunday, November 10th, over at the Walpole Unitarian Church, is a benefit concert to support Community Asylum Seekers Project. We had John Bohannon in here to talk about Community Asylum Seekers Project, and there's quite an active group of folks around here. It's
but we'll have to go back in time to do that one.
It says Cameo Baroque is the actual is the concert.
Okay.
Beyond the Messiah, chamber music of Handel's chamber music. So that's kind of an appropriate on a Sunday afternoon for some chamber music.
It'd be very good.
And it's supporting a great project. So I think we have a clip that you wanted to go to. Do we have
Not
time?
yet.
Not yet? Oh, okay.
Not yet. Don't
Okay.
be pushing. Don't be rushing it.
Oh, rushing. I wanted to make sure we had time for the clip.
Well, I
don't
think
know how long the clip is.
Oh, that's true. It's about 3 minutes. But I just wanted to. It's 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes, or. All right, we have 5 minutes before we have to do the clip. I'm liking this. I'm sort of liking this new assertive Alex.
We're speaking to the man behind the scenes.
Yes, the man behind the curtain.
So are you going to preview what?
We only have 5 minutes.
Oh, we have 5 minutes left total.
Okay.
Okay, well, I wanted to talk a little bit about this thing. It's not a coffee maker, but it is a camera. And I don't know if you remember back when, and maybe this wasn't,
cameras,
giant, like Jamorama cameras. And I remember when I was a kid, they had these huge cameras, like the size of a refrigerator. This is now replaces all of those.
That's amazing.
And it's one of the projects we're looking here at Fact TV, is always on the cutting edge, always looking at new technology. And we do these town meetings all the time. And people probably don't know how we do them, but we do them with the camera.
Big camera and the tripod.
You have the man on a tripod, and then have cards and all this stuff. This is going to be our next stage. It can be remotely controlled with an iPhone. It transmits over the internet, and you can pan, zoom, do all the things that you can do.
Which
if you had a camera,
makes setup easier, because I know some of the meetings, one of the problems is how do you get perspective? Like you can't get the tripod set up in the right space.
So these will be
small.
Depending on how it works, it may be that towns may just purchase these and they'll be permanently put in meeting spaces, and then and then there'll be like a backup in case the internet's down. But it's something we're looking at. Yes. But we need to move to our clip, and I don't know if people have heard, but 2 weeks ago, it's about 2 weeks ago now, right?
Yeah.
Bob Haas, who was a contributor, a big-time contributor to the feed. He was on the feed several times, and he did Cellar Hole Investigators. He was a fountain of information and knowledge, and he was more of an archaeologist than most archaeologists. And he passed on a couple Sundays ago. So we want to do a little clip in remembrance of him, and I guess we'll just go to that.
That's it, folks, for the feed.
Be sure to catch us every Wednesdays at 7:30 a.m.
Springtime has taken me out without warning. Out in the morning to climb I must go. High on the hillside I walk and I wonder, far from the thunder of roadways below. Springtime has taken me out without warning. Out in the morning to climb I must go. High on the hillside I walk and I wonder, far from the thunder of roadways below. Gentle the line of the distant green mountains, gentle the ripple of brooklets nearby, gentle the flight of the white apple petals, gentle the gathering tear in my eye. Here an old cellar hole opens before me, full of gray leaves and young fiddlehead ferns. Here lies a moss-covered doorstep to nowhere, and rising beside it an old lilac tern. Where are the hands that once planted